Hi, friends. I'm Lori Palau, host of the popular weekly podcast, This Organized Life, founder of Simply Be Organized, and author of the book Hot Mess, A Practical Guide to Getting Organized. For the past 7 years, we've been sharing stories, interviews, and strategies to help you live a more organized life. Whether you're struggling with physical clutter, calendar clutter, digital clutter, or just overwhelmed with the mental load of all the things, we're here to help you every step of the way. We know that one of the biggest struggles many of us face is time, and even finding the time to listen to a 45-minute long episode might not even be doable, which is why we've created this Organized Life Tip of the Week. These short episodes are designed to give you a little boost to start your week off on the right foot in under 15 minutes. This might be something that I'm doing in my personal life that I wanted to share, a tip that someone shared with me that I want to pass along to you, or maybe it might just be a prompt or story to help you think differently about the true meaning of clutter. New episodes of our Tip of the Week are automatically going to show up in your podcast feed on Mondays, and our regular long-form episodes will continue to drop each and every Thursday. Now, if you're new here, make sure to click the subscribe or follow button for instant access to all of our 300 plus past episodes. And if you're already subscribed to TOL, there's nothing that you need to do. Our bonus episodes should already be in your feed. Regardless of whether you just found us or you're one of our OG listeners, I am so happy that you're here. Now, let's get to it. Hey everybody, and welcome to today's tip of the week from This Organized Life podcast. I'm your host, Lori Palau, and I'm really glad that you're here. I don't know about you, but I'm loving these short little nuggets that we're able to provide for you guys. I love my interviews. I love chatting with people and getting to know them and their stories that we do every Thursday. But sometimes I just really like to kind of get down and dirty. Just give me my tip, give me my strategy, and let me just run with it. And that's the purpose of these Monday episodes. I mean, at least that's when we drop them. I don't know when you guys listen, if you listen at the same time or not. But that's the purpose of this. And so if you are enjoying this, please tell a friend. The more listeners that we get, the better it is for everybody. We're able to continue to provide you all this amazing content. Our team works really, really hard to deliver to you each and every week. So again, from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate every review, every share, every subscriber, follower, you name it. So again, all over social media, This Organized Life podcast, or Simply Be Organized. And we also, for those of you who, and we're on YouTube, of course, we're on YouTube, This Organized Life podcast, but also we have a weekly, I hate the word newsletter, but basically we send out an email every week with the recap of what our tip of the week is. And also with our interviews on Thursdays. So if you're not already subscribed to our whatever email list, I'd love for you, if you're a fan of ours, definitely go in there, because we know that sometimes social media gets weird with their algorithms. But if you subscribe to our stuff, it will not go into your junk folder. You'll be able to get it. You can go back, you can read the transcripts, listen to the episodes, watch us on YouTube, whatever it is that you like. And it makes it really easy also in email form to just share that with a friend. Just forward that email on to whoever you think in your world might benefit from that episode. Because again, not everybody listens to podcasts. So sometimes sharing it in the podcast app gets weird for some people, but sharing an email, everybody knows how to open up an email. So again, definitely. And there's links in the show notes for you to be able to just kind of connect up with us over email. So that's your public service announcement. Now, today's tip of the week is more of a relational one, less kind of nuts and bolts, but it has to do with what I'm calling reconnecting with an old friend. And I think this is really important. I don't want to gender stereotype. I know for myself as a woman, as a mom, my friendships have always been very important to me. I have my core group of people, and I've got like the people in the outer circle. And then I've got like the people that are like my acquaintance people that, you know, we see at the grocery store, that you see here and there, and they're familiar faces and they live in your town. You're like, hey, how are you? But they're not like the people you have in your phone that you call on your way home from your workout or wherever you are. And there's a lot of times I know for myself, I've lived in my town for over 20 years now, but there are a lot of people from different seasons of my life, like when we lived in New York or when we used to live in North Jersey or my childhood or whatever, that are people that matter to me. But I think about them, but they don't necessarily know that I think about them. They may or may not be on social media. Even that, I don't tend to spend a ton of time on social media. So it requires a level of intentionality to get in touch with people or stay in touch with people who you don't see on the regular. And I know for myself, it becomes very easy to develop what I call friends of convenience. They're the people that you maybe your kids do sports with or activities with, or you go to church with, or you work with, or whatever that looks like. And that's great. I think we need friends of convenience to a certain extent. I think especially we did an episode a couple weeks ago about being neighborly, and there's nothing wrong with friends of convenience. Doesn't mean that they're inauthentic friendships, but there's something to be said about an old friend, somebody that knows you in an intimate way, maybe at a different time of your life that it still matters to you, but for whatever reason, maybe it's your college roommate or your friend for your best friend from high school. And even though you may have grown and are in different places, either figuratively or logistically, there's still people that are important to you. And so I'm going to encourage you to go first. Follow up with find these people. And I mean as personal as you possibly can. You can start with a text, you could start with a DM on social media, but ultimately, it's really about having that connection point where you're talking on the phone. Meeting in person obviously would be great. But even if this friend of yours is in a different part of the country or the state or wherever, maybe even the world, having a connection point with them is so important. I remember when the pandemic first happened, one of the greatest gifts that we were able to have, I think, when we were so physically isolated from other people, was to be able to have these kind of Zoom catch ups with other people that matter to us, whether it was family Zooms or friend Zooms, whatever it was. And I'm not talking about our school Zooms and our work Zooms, but I'm talking about those. How can you still be a part of my life when I'm distanced from you? And so I think, I know that a lot of times, especially as I get older, I hear more and more about so and so's gotten sick, or God forbid, so and so's passed away, or all of these things that remind us of our mortality. And oftentimes we're so busy going through the day-to-day motions of our everyday lives that we don't stop to take pause of like, okay, this is somebody that really matters to me. And we just kind of think, okay, when I have time, I will reach out, or when I have time, this. And we all know that we have to make intentional time for the people and the things in our lives that matter. And so, again, I understand all about family obligations and being overstretched in a million different directions. But my challenge for you this week is to pick somebody that's in your life or that is important to you, that maybe was in your life, that you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe it wasn't like that you even had a falling out. You just kind of went in different directions, and pick up the phone, call them, or shoot them a text if you don't want to just blindside them and say, hey, was just thinking about you, would love to catch up. Let me know if there's a good time. For some people, that's a really awkward and uncomfortable conversation. And I think a lot of times the things that are most impactful require a little bit of discomfort. And so I guarantee you, more often than not, that person is really going to be touched and excited and flattered and humbled to hear from you and want and welcome that reconnection, because they're probably as overworked, overscheduled, working on autopilot as you are. And so sometimes it just takes us to go first. So be the facilitator of that and reconnect with an old friend. So I want you to take this episode after you listen to it, and maybe just forward this email to that old friend and say, hey, you're the one I'm thinking of. And so again, post on social media, tag us, let us know, shoot us a comment. And until next week. I'm Lori Blau. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please spread the love and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure to click the subscribe button wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, please leave us a review so other people know that our show is worth the listen. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram at This Organized Life Podcast. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can head on over to our website at simply the letter B like boy organized.com, which is filled with tons of resources, including free downloads, checklists, links to our amazing organizing partners, and all of our digital offerings. I'll see you next week for another episode of This Organized Life.